Hey everyone, it's Charlie. It is July 19th, Sunday. I wanted to answer a question that I get quite a bit in my personal messages, which is, when do I think we're going to see social unrest? And one answer to that is we already are seeing it. I mean, there's a lot of protests going on with people who are fed up with taxes and deficits. So we're seeing the tea parties and the tax day protests, and that's unrest. I mean, it's minute in scale compared to what it's going to be, but we've already seen the start of it. When do I think we'll see the mass civil unrest? My answer to that would be when money is no longer coming in to the millions of people who are on unemployment, or the millions of people who are on welfare, millions of people receiving food stamps. When those benefits start to run out and states can no longer afford to subsidize people with welfare and food stamps, and when workers run out of their unemployment insurance benefits, I mean, there's no other outcome that's even feasible. I mean, there's going to be massive civil unrest. You know, there's going to be millions of people that have a cold bucket of water thrown on them when their benefits are just gone, and unemployment numbers are still rising. You know, there's going to be millions of angry, upset, scared, embarrassed people who bought into the hype that second half '09 recovery was going to happen, that if we spent $1.3 trillion, that we would save and create millions of jobs. If we just, did this bailout or did that bailout, we would turn the economy around. And these masses are going to wake up to the big lie. And, I mean, you name your emotion, it's going to happen. I think embarrassment is going to drive a lot of the civil unrest, because people are going to be embarrassed that they were so stupid. You know, you bought into a lie that a handful of people on Wall Street that commingle with our government, that created this meltdown that we're now experiencing, that same handful of people were given the faith, your faith, to fix it. And when that reality sets in, it's going to cause anger and embarrassment on a lot of people who bought into that. And so I don't see any other outcome other than eventual civil unrest. And, hopefully it's all peaceful. But I think if you look at history, it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't play out that way. People get hungry, they get scared, they get afraid, they don't know what to do next. Crime's going up because millions and millions of people have no job, and they have families to feed, and they have no income. I mean, play it out in your mind. It's obvious to me that the end of it, there's going to be a lot of people desperate in this country. So, and now, as far as when that could happen, I don't know. I mean, I think as long as the rest of the world puts faith in our dollar, the Federal Reserve and the Treasury can keep doing quantitative easing and pumping money into the system. It'll continue. If the dollar is still worth something, and we're still willing to let the Federal Reserve and the Treasury pump billions and trillions of dollars into states that are failing so they can make minimal payments to their welfare and their food stamps and their police and their, as long as they can prop it up and people still have faith in that dollar, it'll continue. But the signs of the world losing faith in our dollar are all over the place. I mean, you can't read a paper just about every day without you reading about some country wanting to develop their own reserve or get out of the dollar as their currency reserve. And I think what's happening now will be looked back upon, that didn't make sense, will be looked back upon as the gentle landing attempt of the economy. It fell apart in October last year. And where it should be right now is Dow at 3,000, and just very bleak times, huge, fast contraction, 2 or 3 years of depression, and then, we rebuild the economy the right way. But what instead they're doing is spending trillions upon trillions of dollars and trying to land the plane softly. And I think that'll work until the rest of the world says, you know what, we have your dollars as our reserve, because they're supposed to be as good as gold. And when you closed the gold window in 71, you promised you wouldn't do this to our dollar, to our reserve currency. Now you've done it. So when the rest of the world wakes up to what we're doing, then the soft landing is going to be a stone falling through the air, and will hit hard. And it'll be worse because we've created, but who knows by that point, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years worth of GDP out of thin air and pumped it into the banks to no avail. I mean, it didn't fix anything, but we still have that debt now to account for. So I don't know. I don't like to make exact predictions. I do know that September, it's estimated that 500,000 people by the end of September will have zero benefits left of any kind. They won't have unemployment. They won't have first or second extensions. They will just be completely out of income, period, unless they find a job. And along with that, last week, 642,000 people came off the continuing unemployment rolls. And all that means is they ran out of benefits. And now they are either going to go to their first extension or find a job. And I say find a job, that's tongue-in-cheek, because I know they're not finding jobs. These people are going to have to go get their extensions to have some income coming in. And that 642,000, even though it's an seasonally adjusted, kind of bogus government number, I think it can be agreed that we had a substantial drop-off last week in continuing unemployment benefits. And the only two things that could have happened is they either A, found a job, tongue-in-cheek again, or B, they just ran out of benefits. So now they'll go get their first extensions. But by the end of September, 500,000 people will be completely out. There'll be no more money coming in whatsoever. So, a lot of people are talking about another October surprise. I'm fully 100% in agreement with that. I think we're going to have another huge leg down in October, and we're going to be going into the Christmas season with bleak prospects of any retail business ending up in the black for the year. So, at any rate, that's my opinion. That's all I got.